Girls, and calling people pick-me's is out, and working it out on the remix is in.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm one of your hosts, Fiji, like the island, like the water. I am 9 days free of cigarettes, and I work in social media and marketing.
And I'm your other host, Autumn, like the season. We both feel like we jumped timelines on New Year's Eve this year, and I work in entertainment.
Yes, and this is a new type of episode for us, guys. We are doing the ins and outs of 2025 because it is January. And we are also adding a cultural digest, if you will, episode to the beginning week of every month. So we're doing something a little bit more casual, so we have some more time to do those deep dives into our regular episodes. And if you guys are OGs, we are adding back what we're so wet and so dry about in this very moment. We used to do that at the beginning of every episode, but then our episodes became 3 hours long. So we're adding it back just for the cultural digest episodes, and I will go first. This week / month / 2025, I am very wet about the fact that I picked up a second job, guys. I am now bartending at the restaurant that I used to work at when I first moved to Atlanta. And I really love it. Full circle moment. It gives that community feeling. Like it's a nice little break after work. Also, I did quit smoking and drinking just for the month of January. So I feel like this is like my social time where I'm still around people that are drinking, but like I'm not. So It's like a good little vibe. I feel like fresh, like go get it energy in 2025.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's really good for you. And I just realized right now, I was like, yeah, that might be kind of hard, like literally serving drunk people. But
no, it makes me like want to be more sober because it's a sports bar. So it's not really my type of drunk people, like for real anyway.
Right.
And yeah.
But still, like, I don't know. And yeah, so proud of you about the cigarettes. That is an incredibly hard journey. Like, y'all don't understand how fucking hard that is. I'm sure a lot of you do.
Guys.
Shit, dude. And how long are you going to be on the patches for?
8 weeks. So it's like a super strong patch for 4 weeks. Then it goes down to a lower one for 2, lower one. Yeah. I'm doing the full 8 weeks. Like, I'm not playing around. Like, I do not trust myself.
It's so good. Okay, so proud of you. This week I am so wet. I saw some movies that I'm always late to watch things, but I saw some films over the Christmas, New Year's time. Okay. And I just want to, Fiji put me on to most of these, but the first one is Wicked. Love Wicked.
I want to see it.
You have to see it. I remember I was 10 years old when I saw it in San Francisco off Broadway, obviously. Changed my fucking life, bitch. If you guys don't know, I used to do theater a lot. So yeah, this musical is like the one I feel like I know the most about. Iconic. So happy. Love Cynthia, Ariana. You guys know. And then I also saw the 688 and It Ends With Us. And both movies made me cry. They were both so fucking good. Fiji put me on to both of them, and also they're like trending everywhere. Like if you don't know, like they were on the top 10, whatever. So just super happy about those films. Like I love movies. And also just like we say all the time, like New Year's is like one of our favorite holidays. Like we love to change. And like I feel like last year, like I made a lot of like unhealthy decisions and like I'm trying to be better this year. And I feel like I made some like bad decisions and also good decisions like during this New Year's Eve time. So feeling like proud of myself for sure. And yeah, just wet about the new year, clean slate, bitch. Nobody knows me. Like
it's going to be lit besides the Donald Trump presidency, but anyway,
right, yeah.
As for So Dry, I had a rough day yesterday, and I feel like I'm just dry in general also about quitting because it's just really hard. Like the first couple days, I was like really on it. Like I was like staying busy, getting my nails done, working, like all of that stuff. But I'm really realizing like without the alcohol and without the cigarettes, like how much I have to sit with uncomfortable emotions. And it'll be like a song or like a movie or just like a PTSD moment where I'm just like, oh my God, like I immediately want a cigarette or I immediately want a drink and I like can't. And I feel like it's uncomfortable, but at the same time, I think it's good for me to sit with those emotions and like process them. I still definitely like masturbate quite a bit when I have those uncomfortable emotions, and I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. But, you know, we're working on it. I feel like the fact that I've cut out like 2 addictions at one time with the past year that I had is still like a big thing. So I'm sticking to it. We're being uncomfortable.
Bitch,
it's fine.
Huge. And like, not that I don't believe in you, but like every day that goes by and you're still doing it, I'm like, fuck. Like,
because I was like, bro, this is not gonna lie. I was like 6-7 days in, and I'm like, this is easy. Like, people are being dramatic. This is easy, because I had that idea in my mind for like so long. Like, I was ready to quit, and then it got to yesterday, and I was like, I want to kill myself, and I was snowed in, so I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything because like it snowed in fucking Atlanta. But today I feel better, so like it's part of the process. If you guys are thinking about quitting, do it. Like, I promise you, like, for me, what worked was setting like a date like far in advance. So every time I like smoked a cigarette and like really didn't want one, I just think about that moment. And the patches, it's helping. I'm not a success story yet, but I'm close.
You're so fucking close. And like, honestly, the beginning like is seriously the hardest, like from what I remember. So yeah, I'm unbelievably proud of you. But for my dry, I do live in Los Angeles, and we are recording this on January 11th. And so just dry about the wildfires. We both are. It's really scary. It's really devastating. We'll definitely be posting resources in the description of this episode for things to donate to, and like valid resources, trusted sources. I'm not affected by it. I'm like kind of like in the middle of all of them.
You're on notice. Because guys, she was texting me today, like the fire has spread, and she's like, oh no, like her bags are packed right now. Like your bags, like this is nerve wracking. Like you're still
it's really
like,
scary.
It's your entire community, your entire city. Like so many people have lost their places. So like, pray to God, pray to the universe, like whatever, everything's gonna be okay. Like
that's all we could do.
You're gonna be good, but and I know some of our listeners are in LA too, so it's like, guys, like if you want to share resources with us, like we'll definitely repost on our Instagram on So Wet So Dry.
Yes, please do. But as of right now, I haven't had to evacuate, so hoping it stays that way. I'm gonna do what I can, because yes, it is devastating. So prayers are with everyone. So let's get the fuck into this episode. We kind of paired an in with an out, like cause and effect, or like 2 different ones together. So we're each just going to go back and forth and share what we have to share. And I am going first. Woo. So first, an out for 2025 is girls. As a general term, you guys, girls is out. And a lot of people think that the opposite of a girl's girl is a pick-me girl. So I'm also going to say pick-me girls, pick-me culture is also out for 2025. And to pair that, what's in for 2025 is working it out on the remix, as we saw our girls Charlie and Laura do this year. So overall, girls was a huge fucking thing this year, and we obviously hate it, but it was a huge thing. So some articles like this one from Dazed, Why Girl Feminism is Bullshit. We have this article, Are You Woman Enough to Be a Girl's Girl? And this article, What It Actually Means to Be a Girl's Girl and What It Doesn't. So there are some articles and some media and things like that critiquing the term. It's not like everyone's down, but generally speaking on TikTok, the majority are for girls, and definitely believe that that is like something we should be doing in our culture as women.
Not just for it, but like brutally enforcing it. And like comment sections,
like it's a fucking law.
Pick me. Like, you're not a girl's girl, she's not a girl's girl, like body language, not a girl's girl, she's not your friend. Like, it's just like, bro.
And honestly, we've talked about the concept of girls in so many of our episodes, and we definitely feel like our opinion is not what the common thinks.
Yeah.
Like, people think girls is like you let a girl know if she bled through her pants, or you don't let a girl go home at night, but you also like never talk to her boyfriend, like let alone like it's a lot of like policing behavior, and that's what we talk about. And like, of course we're for like girls supporting girls and like that as a concept, but we just feel like the girl term goes way too far.
Yeah.
And it's almost like if you don't identify as that or you don't support that, it's like people are like, they like demonize the fuck out of you.
Or even if you do identify as that and you do something that's not girl like, then you're immediately a girl's girl. And it's like, oh, like it's a reason to bully other women.
Right. Yes.
And the other thing I was going to say about it too is like, it's usually like because of one girl's insecurity and like another girl is maybe confident or not thinking, like say like.
It's almost like you need to like dim your own light in order to be a girl's girl. Yeah, it's like it is based on a lot about like women's securities and like insecurities and you doing what you need to do as a woman to like make everyone else feel better.
It's like a cult or like a gang mentality. Like it's like, oh, no one can stand out. You all need to be like this. Like like this is my man. You can't open your mouth around him. Like you can't wear this if we're going here. Like it's not.
And we've had a lot of experience in our personal lives with this concept. And if you guys don't know, Fiji and I did spend New Year's Eve together in Boston this past year. And like, we like had an honest conversation, like, because maybe we were wrong about girls. Like maybe like you do really need to, like, in the sense where it's like, we feel like a lot of times people think being a girl's girl is like controlling your friend. And like, if she wants to do something that's maybe unhealthy or like a bad decision, it's like, it's on you. Like you're not being a girl's girl if you let her do that.
Right.
But we've always, in our friendship, liked the fact that we, like, gave ourselves, like, we give each other space to, like, make that own decision. Yeah. Like, we've never policed each other. We've never, like, held someone back. Obviously, like, safety is a big thing.
Yeah.
And if it was, like, affecting your safety, like, of course that would be, like, different.
Right.
But even still, we like to look at each other like we are our own
autonomous
people. We have our own agency, and we cannot control one another.
Yep.
But then we had an honest conversation like, well, no, like, should we try a little bit harder? It's like, I made a decision that like wasn't the best for me. Like you did too. Yeah. And it's like, we just let each other do it. But it sounds so weird. It's like, of course we're going to let each other do it. Like what am I going to hold you the fuck down? Like,
and it reminds me of like, because I think with our friendship, we both come to each other very non-judgmentally. And that's like always how we are. So it's like, no matter what decision you're going to make, I'm going to support you. I'm going to maybe ask questions if it's in a certain moment. And I'm not going to judge you for it after. But there is, like you said, like something about like keeping another person safe. But it's like the idea of like, okay, so say a bunch of you are like out drunk and your friend is like, oh no, you're too drunk, you need to come home even though you want to go out with this guy or like whatever. And it's like, no, we bring her home because we're a girl's girl. Like me and Autumn in a lot of situations, we would be like still there and we'd be like, you know, you can go. Like I know when she's too fucked up. Like I know if you're like the time I was like blackout drunk, like you make sure I'm good. But it's like certain times. Yeah, certain times like those behaviors when someone's not that drunk, they're just having a good time or whatever. It feels almost like you're like parenting your friend. Like, you know, when people are always like, oh, I'm the mom of the group, like whatever. Or even in a weird way, like I feel the same about romantic relationships where like a partner is being like, oh, you can't text these people, you can't like these people's pictures, like da-da-da. Like you're micromanaging someone else's behavior because you either have a worry or an anxiety or you don't trust them or something else. And like sometimes that is valid. Like there are definitely times where your friend is too drunk and you need to take her home or that guy's not safe or whatever. But there's a lot of times, and most of the times I see that happened to you in the bathroom like a while ago. It's like, no, she's good.
It's such a good example.
It's a perfect example.
So if you guys haven't heard us tell this story, like basically we were all like at an after hours party. Like it was late. We had drank alcohol. We had taken substances like Molly that like specifically like make me like uncontrollably crave sex, like really fucking hard. And there was this guy at the after hours that I knew, like we had slept together before. I don't know him that well, but like the other night we did. And so like I went into the bathroom with him and we were like hooking up. And
on
like
some fun after parties,
on some fun
like
shit.
She was
like,
good, guys. Like
I was good. It was really late. Like, was it like the best decision. Like, maybe not, but like, I stand by it. Like, that was great.
And
like,
no
I was
one
really
would have
turned
known.
on. No one would have known. But anyways, some girls we were with at the spot like came over and like were outside the bathroom while I was like doing what I was doing to this man. And they're like knocking on
No,
Fiji's face.
first they came up to me and they were like, Fiji, where's Autumn? Fiji, where's Autumn? And I had like just talked to you before you went with him. And I know him again because we had seen him the night before and you had hooked up with him and you were excited to see him again. Like you had been texting him. Like, I know. And they're like, no, we got to find Autumn. Like, she's not okay. Like, da-da. And I'm like getting annoyed because I'm like, I think I know my best friend more than you guys do.
Yeah, and also because I do, the few times I've taken Molly, like I do kind of like my muscles and my limbs, like, yes, like I'll kind of act a little bit weird, but again, Fiji knows like that always happens. Like I'm not actually spasming.
You do that
like,
when you're not high sometimes too. Like it's just like you have a movement thing.
Even when I'm thinking really hard, like I always do weird shit. So like these girls just didn't know me, and so they were like, but anyways, yeah, they went up to you, and Fiji's like annoyed as fuck and was like, she's good. However, it's like they're looking at you like, what the fuck are you doing? Like your best friend's like out here like going crazy in the bathroom with some guy, but it's also on some misogyny as if like, it's like, oh, of course he's taking advantage of me. Meanwhile, I'm orchestrating the whole thing. Like, let's go to the bathroom. Like, I want to fuck. Like,
and it was like
which we weren't fucking, but like
because they banged down the door, like pulled you out, and then you started crying. And so by the time that they marched your ass up to me,
I don't remember I was crying.
Yeah, you started crying because I think you were like embarrassed. Like you were like, I'm good, but like you were, and I was like, then I pulled you aside and I was like, are you good? Are you okay? You were like, yeah, that was just like a lot. Because it wasn't a lot because you were being like,
because he got pissed too and he thought it was my fault, and I was like, I can't control these bitches, like
right, because that's not good on him either, because there is a big thing about like predators in the underground and stuff like that, and that makes him look really bad when he wasn't doing anything bad, like it was consensual. So it was like, whatever, like you came back up to me and I was like,
and they looked down on him, like said some weird shit to him hard too, and like made him exit the bathroom, and I was just like, I'm like, yeah, it was weird. It's like a combination of like, oh, like they care, but also like there was no reason to care, because especially because I didn't know them that well. I was like, damn, you guys are really willing to like go through hell to like protect me. And then I was just like, but wait, like you actually ruined the whole thing, and now I feel really embarrassed.
And then like, you feel like, exactly, because I feel like that too. Like when both of us go out, like sometimes we take it too far, but like we both are free spirits. We'll talk to different people. We'll flirt, like whatever. And my friends used to get mad at me because I'm the type of person to come, like I'll chill with you while we eat food, while we get appetizers, while we're getting drinks at the beginning. But then I'm wandering. Like, bitch, don't, like I'm like here to have a good time. I'm going to dance. I'm going to check in with you, like whatever. But it's like once someone like does that to you or like says something or makes you like feel slut shamed, you're like, oh, I have to be on my best behavior. Like I can't get too drunk. And it's like, then why am I out? Like,
yeah. And it's just like, that is just such a good example. Yeah. It's like they were like making you feel bad because you weren't doing anything. And then it's like just going like really far out of your way to like knock down the door and like, and it's obviously it's like, yes, like if you think like your friend is like being like raped or something, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I'm like, am I fucked up? But it's just like, there was no flags that was happening.
Yeah,
like
there was nothing.
And it's just like, it was just so frustrating. And so like, anyways, that's like a perfect example of what it is. But like, we've had conversations where it's like, well, maybe we should try harder to like make each other like make the right decisions, and not like that example, but like other things.
Yeah.
But overall, like I still think it's fucking out, and like people that are like preaching that to this day, like honestly, like I don't fuck with you. I think it's crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just about like communicating like your boundaries, or like when you think you're too drunk, like, oh, Fiji, if I do this, then I'm too drunk and we need to leave. Or like talking about that before that night, like when you go out, or like those types of things. Because then that is being like a girl's girl, because you're listening to what your friend already told you, but not like assuming like this is the girl code and this is how we need to operate, like without that person's consent, really.
Yeah. And it's also like, I just thought of this now, but it's also kind of like diminishing like the intelligence like of women, as if like we can't like make those decisions, and like we fall victim to men so much. It's just kind of like, damn, bro, like I don't know. Like I feel like if I get like too drunk and like I like did drugs or something and I made like a dumb decision and like you were at the party, like not once would I ever be like, oh my God, like that's on you. Like, you know what I mean? And like we give space for each other to like grieve the dumb decision making and like not judge people. And like I just feel like that's so much more important than like having a friend that's gonna like lock me in the house because I can't do this.
And then you might grow to hate her, because I've grown to hate friends like that before that have been like, okay, like you're a fucking like buzzkill, because it's like you're not listening. Like, why are you treating me like a mom? Like, you know?
Right. Exactly. And there's been times where I like tried to hide your phone from me, but it only lasts for like 20 minutes because I'm like, what are you gonna do? It doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's how we feel about girls. But pick-me's we've also talked about in a lot of episodes. Girls always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but pick-me's at first, like I was kind of like, like the girls in high school that they're like, oh my God, I hate wearing makeup. Like I just want to wear my sweatpants. Like, can we like play sports? Whatever. Like, because I was never like that. Like I mean, I was a pick-me in other ways for sure, but I do think like being a pick-me, like I think we've all done pick-me like things in the society and culture that we're in. Like you want validation, like whatever. But I just think like it's so misogynistic to like hate on your past pick-me self or like other people's past pick-me selves. And it's like being like a bigot and like a bad person, like that's completely different. But like just overall the like widespread, like she's a pick-me, she like whatever, it's like, okay. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's just like, it just feels like a way to like harm other women. And we fully believe to hold other women accountable and not like, you know, men do all evil and we're good. But like, that's not what pick-me culture is. It's not holding people accountable. It's just like being fucking mean is what I think.
Yeah. And I feel like the term like girl has morphed too, because it's like, just like how you said, like, oh, you're in front of a group of guys and you're like, I play sports or I don't wear makeup or like whatever, which is shit that guys do too. Like a guy will start talking about how much money he makes around a group of girls. Like it's that. And then it's also like, but then it's like, if a girl is flirting with a guy, she's a pick-me. And then again, it's slut shaming. And then it goes down this whole rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and it's like,
so I'm just like, what are we doing?
The only time I feel like I can still like be somewhat, or Shira Seven uses like pick-misha and fucking Mademoiselle or Madam, what the guru girlies, they use it all the time. Which is just reinforcing like patriarchy and internalized misogyny and all this stuff. But like the only time I'm like, okay, like that makes sense is like someone like Just Pearly Things, who's like completely like selling her soul to like the manosphere and like doing everything that they want to say, like that type of situation. But like there's also a line. There's also a line because a lot of the like TikTok feminists will call like girls who still want a relationship and aren't like going 4B and all of that stuff pick-me's. So it's like, I don't know, like in general, I'm just like, if you use girl or pick-me, I don't know if we can be cool.
Right. And if all of the like men are trash and like hating men that like goes on and that like we've been a part of in the past, like we're trying to unlearn, it's like we've completely been like, if you want any form of male validation, like you are bad. Right. And I'm at a point like, and we're at a point in our intersectional feminism where it's like, it's not healthy or good for me to like hate male validation and be like, oh my God, like I used to get dressed in the morning to like go to school, like so guys would think I'm pretty. Like that is not like a bad thing. Like, of course, if all you do is like seek male validation every second of the fucking day, but if it's just like a cute thing and you just want to be like, and I'm queer, like we're queer, it's like, it's not even just men. It's like, I want to be validated by everyone. Like, men specifically, it's like, I don't want to like tell myself I'm wrong for wanting that sometimes. Like, it's not like so bad. Like, it's not black and white. And I just feel like being a pick-me, like wanting male validation are like two of the same. Like, they're so intertwined. And like, that's another reason I just don't fuck with it either.
Yeah, because it's the hetero pessimism too, when you're like, oh, like, I don't do anything for male validation. I'm not going to do that because that's what men want. It's like, but you still are straight and you still want to be with a man. So it's like, you're acting like you're so above it or you're so removed from it, but like, you're just like
and it's
not
harming.
Engaging in it. Yeah. So it's a dead end and I'm over it.
Right. So fuck all that shit. We're going to probably keep analyzing the fuck out of it in 2025. Yep. But girls, and calling people pick-me's are out. Working it out on the remix is in. So we talked about this in our friendship episode. But basically, working out on the remix came from Charlie XCX's song, Girls So Confusing, where she calls out, like, how her and Lorde have had this like unsaid beef about like a lot of people think they're the same, they compare to one another and all of that shit. So it's just like they in turn just didn't really fuck with each other because the media was always comparing them and it was pissing them off and whatever. So she wrote this line and Lorde responded. She's like, I ride for you, Charlie. And it was just like a great moment. And like more than that, it's not like you need to go like make up with your ex-best friend, but it's just like giving like with Bell Hook says, it's like we have the agency to create our own new thoughts about the world and like new situations. It's just like working out on the remix to me is just like moving past things that, you know, maybe it's like they still mattered, but like it wasn't enough to end the friendship. Yeah, it's just working out on the remix to me is just like accepting the past, like moving forward. And it's like the opposite of girls because it's actually like supporting other women and like having honest conversations and like breaking down barriers.
Like like actually engaging with each other and having like a friendship as like two individuals, and you have this society that pinned Lorde and Charlie XCX against each other, but turns out they could really be cool. They're just different, but they could be cool together. It's like being a pick-me and a girl's, the predominant misogynistic culture that wants us to believe these things. This is how a girl should act. This is what we should do as friends. Fuck all that. Like, we need to communicate as individuals. Like, yeah.
And see each other as wholehearted human beings.
Yes. Okay, so my first one for 2025 is Sincerity. And out is too much irony and not taking things too seriously. So this comes from Ethel Cain, who is, do you know who she is? She's a transgender music artist. She makes like, she's like an artist. Like, that's the only way I can describe her, is like her music is actual art. Like, her latest album is Perverts, which I'm going to talk about in my next, which I had a weird thing about. Like, I'm going to talk about that in the next one. But Ethel Cain, she's an amazing artist. She's our age. She's 26 years old. She had posted on Tumblr in around October of 2024 this super long Tumblr post, and she was ranting about how people don't take things seriously anymore. And essentially, one of her albums is this like Ethel Cain is a fictional character that she uses as her artist name. And in one of the albums, like, it tells the story of this woman who like runs away from home and then ends up meeting this abusive partner and then becomes sold into prostitution and cannibalized by her captor. Like, it's like crazy. Like, each song is connected, but individually they're good. Yeah. And so essentially after the album came out and everything, all of her fans were making all these jokes like, oh, Ethel, that ate like the cannibalism, like all this stuff, just like, oh, your mother, like just not taking it like seriously enough, right? Seriously. And it's like, it's cute, it's fun, but she's not fucking with it. So she, in her Tumblr post, it's super long, and she had a follow-up one. I'm not going to read all of it, but the quotes that I really liked, she said, I just feel as though there's a lack of sincerity in the world these days. I speak from personal experience as an artist putting things out into the world. Yes, but also as a human being interacting with other human beings on the regular. And I have had my sentiments echoed by many other friends of mine over the past year or so, both artists and non-artists alike. And then later down, she says, I miss genuine passion. As an autistic individual, when I'm alone, sometimes I cannot contain myself with how things make me feel. The music I listen to, the video games I play, the books I read, I almost feel the need to run through the house and scream in everyone's face how I'm feeling. It feels good to love intensely. Now, I won't pretend the autistic people haven't been bullied for this since the dawn of time, but there is surely a noticeable lack of passion in everything these days. Everyone can feel it. Everyone is talking about it. Everything is now cringe or doing too much or not that serious. Actually, it is that serious. Insecurity and one's own deeper feelings may not be a new thing, but a culture that seems to promote this eschewing of them does not seem to does seem to be the new evil. The tone of the internet has completely shifted. And so in talking about like the irony and stuff, I watched these YouTube videos, guys. I'm going to put them on the screen. And essentially like, you know what irony is, right? It's like sarcasm.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we've moved to
like in literature.
Right.
Like
and you can like when you use sarcasm, you're being like ironic, I guess.
Ironic.
And then we go to post irony and meta irony. I'm not going to explain it. You guys can watch those videos. But like when we think about a lot of like memes nowadays or like comments and stuff like that, a lot of it is post irony or meta irony, and meta irony doesn't really say anything. And I love memes. So like part of me is like, let's keep a little bit of irony, but more articles about this topic that I want us to talk about a little bit is kind of like it would have to do with the Donald Trump presidency, or even something like now with the LA fires, and people are just like making jokes like, you know, and I think it's a way of coping, but it's like we as a culture cannot take anything seriously, and not even like intimate relationships, like our own feelings, like real art. And that's a problem. So I think in 2025, we need to like still be able to joke, but like get a little bit more sincere, more serious with ourselves and our relationships with others. Because if we don't, we end up with presidents like Donald Trump, and we end up in situationships, and we end up with girls, shitty friends. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, this is like so profound. And I feel like, honestly, I've been like feeling this, but like didn't know how to like articulate it either. Cause I do feel like when the internet like first launched, like there was way more like realness, rawness.
Yes.
And now that like the internet has become like the most monetizable thing you could ever do, I do think that's a big reason that we lost it. I think a lot of people use it to cope. There's like so much bad shit that's happened.
Yep.
And like not only like there's always been bad things happening, but now with like the internet, it's all in front of our faces, and we're all like taking it in like really fucking hard. Yeah. And so I feel like that's because I'm just trying to think about like what really caused that.
Yeah,
because
I think it is.
Feel like it's like bad more than ever it has been before. And just like you said, like it's with like catastrophes happening. It's with like politics. It's our own relationships. And I overall just feel like the whole it's not that serious thing is like centered around like quote unquote coolness and like what we consider to be cool, which makes me think of like the mysterious girl thing. And it's like, you're like not a feminist, or like you're really lame if you let a guy like bring you down and you feel like insecure and sad over him.
Right, like have no feelings.
And it's just like, and I do feel like now more than ever, it's like we need realness like so bad. And even just talking about how we want to do this podcast, we're always like, we want to be real. We don't want to sugarcoat, and like not to like toot our own horn.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people have messaged us saying like that's the reason they like to watch, because we are
I think we're really sincere. Like I do think that we are. Like I think we make jokes, but like, and that's how I've had problems with like making good friends, because I'm noticing it's not just on the internet, but like people in real life. You can have a conversation with someone and you're saying nothing. Like it's just like memes and jokes back and forth from like mother, like eating, like you know what I'm saying? Like back
what
and
are we
forth, and we're not
saying?
saying anything. And it's like, meanwhile, I know that this friend just went through a breakup, or I know this friend just got fired, or I know this person, and like we like don't know how to like connect and like be like genuine. And it's just like, and one part of the article also talked about how millennials genuinely loved things, and we kind of made fun of them for it. And maybe it's because we're on the cusp, like we're almost millennials, we're like on the older side of Gen Z, but like like millennials loved like avocado toast and like their wine and like whatever, and we were like, what, like why do you love things so much? Like that's corny. But like I think we do need to love things out loud, like a little more. Like we are human beings, we're not robots. And I think that's going to be one of the differentiators in time as more AI shit comes out. You can't, like, we need to be real.
I think in college, like, and you always like say that you like loved this about me. Like I was so good at like saying how I feel and like being bold with my feelings. And like, I do feel like I've like lost that. I think it's like, I mean, maybe not though. Like I feel like I could get it back.
I think
really
in the
quickly.
right company you are.
But I feel like it's like, and it's like after like the world like shut down and like all of the like police brutality that's like it's just like, I do feel like it's like we're all just like permanently changed, but like I want to believe that like we still have the power to like come out of this. And I don't want to just fall into like blaming social media. Like I don't think it's all social media is the reason that we're so disconnected and like not able to take things seriously. I think we're just like approaching new territory. Like we've never had this much access to each other and these things, but it's really fucking sad. Like it's not that serious, and like everyone just commenting weird things. Like it really is like so trippy if you think about it. And we want to do an episode centered around cringe culture. Yeah. Because we all think that we're cringe sometimes, but it's like, isn't that like endearing? Like I don't.
Right. And like, what is cringe? Like, I don't get why it's cringy
like we're
to
not
be
perfect.
Sincere. Because I think it's also like the Instagram era where it's like TikTok is more like funny, like you're making fun of yourself sometimes.
Like you just
whatever.
rolled out of bed, you're like hop on.
Yeah. But like a lot of times, like I think our generation is too much like about like the image of things, or like not trying too hard, or just looking like whatever. And it's like you cannot build romantic relationships, friendships, like a relationship with yourself without being like genuine and fucking sincere.
And like real.
And like, yes, you could lose something. Like I remember talking to my therapist about this. With the last relationship I was in, I was like, oh my God, like I don't want to like show him I like him too much. She's like, why? Like just tell him, and if you lose something, like you move on. Like we're so afraid of like showing how we really feel because we're afraid of what's gonna happen after that.
Right.
When like bottling it in is usually what hurts us more.
Yeah. And honestly, like one of my like 2025 intentions is like to practice like more like honest, truth telling communication, especially in situations of crisis, because like I've noticed within myself that like I do have a tendency to like tell white lies like a lot, low-key. And I've always kind of been like that, like as a child, and like I've like worked at it through therapy. Like I'm a divorced kid. I just wanted to make everyone feel good because they were so whatever. But like truth telling, it's not even for it so I can like not lie to people. Like selfishly, it's because like I'm dying inside when I do that. Yes. And so it's like I need to like practice like being sincere, like honest things, even if it hurts, and like just taking things like seriously, not just like, oh, whatever. Like I feel like we also just like smoke weed, like we go out,
we're like
we just
nothing
like move
matters.
on to the next thing,
but
like,
it does.
It's just like fuck, like in the hustle culture and all of that, it's like we're just moving forward, like it's New York City every day, like so that is a very layered one.
Yeah it's wet to pause, think about things, take the time to be sincere and build connections. And right now it's really dry to not take things fucking seriously. Irony, we can keep a little bit of it in our memes, but not too far.
Right. Making jokes is fine, but at the end of the day, it's gone way too far.
Yeah.
So the next one is out for 2025 is TikTok relationship trends. And in for 2025 is the we listen and we don't judge TikTok trend. So we've done episodes on these relationship TikTok trends before. Yeah. So a couple of these theories / tests for relationships: orange peel theory, bird test, Barbie test, Tyla Water, the song test, forest test, the Beckham test, moon phase theory, zero theory, invisible string theory, law of attraction.
And that's all to say he doesn't love you.
Yes. And this isn't our cheating paranoia episode or just overall fucking paranoia on the internet. Yeah. And then we have an article from Dazed: TikTok tests are ruining our romantic relationship. And also this goes perfectly into what you were just talking about, and like not being sincere and saying what you really mean. Like we have to create a fucking secretive game to like do it. And again, it's not to like be mean to ourselves. Like at the end of the day, we talk a lot about like trends are fun at the end of the day. Like why do we have to overanalyze like video essay culture, like all that shit?
But it's revealing something. Yeah.
And so I feel like it's like it is fun and it can be fun, but it's like the way that like we as a society take that shit Like, we take that seriously. Like, that is so serious.
We're taking the wrong thing serious. Yeah.
Serious. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had tried the bird test on the last dude that I was fucking with. And I was like, just trying it because we were about to do that episode. So I was like, I'm not really taking it seriously. But he didn't look at the bird. And of course, I felt a little bit of a type of way after. And it's just like, why am I putting so much weight on this stupid test that I know isn't serious because I'm planning a whole fucking episode around it.
Right.
But it's like, exactly, like, it's like, you're gonna post it online in the court of like public opinion where like everyone else is gonna like determine your relationship. Or even if you don't, which I didn't, it's like, I've seen so many of these go so well that if mine doesn't, then I'm not reaching like that benchmark. And like the listen and we don't judge, like I love those. And like some people will still comment judgmental shit though.
I know.
And they'll be like, oh, you didn't say us, like you didn't say we couldn't judge. But like, I love that it's creating that space. Like, I love that as a concept. Like, we just shouldn't be judging.
Right. And like, especially like people doing it with their partners online. And it's like, back with like the relationships test too, it's like, of course, like couples are going to post the one that was like so good and like profound.
Yeah.
And it's not like they shouldn't be able to do that. But like in turn, it does make people feel weird. Like, I'm like, at the end of the day, like, would I look if someone said they saw a bird? Like, maybe, like, I don't really care about birds. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, so I just feel like it's not like,
bitch. Yeah.
It seems like a fun thing to do, but then you're like, wait, actually, like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't look at it. Like, I feel like if I was dating someone, like, I would have done that same shit. You know what I mean?
And hurt your own feelings. Yeah.
It hurt my own feelings. And it's like, this is what's trending. So, like, I just feel like it's out. Like, I also, like, don't really think you need to put, like with the ketchup test.
Yeah.
And you, like, put it online and it's, like, low-key, like, heart, like, your husband's, like, stupid and now everyone's laughing at him. Like, why would you, like, do that to him? Like, not to be, like, men's apologists, but, like,
for
yes,
your
he needs to learn how to clean. Like, but like,
don't get mad when the internet bullies hit. Like, they're going to, like, you know?
And they know that. And so it's just like a weird thing to do. But yeah, I feel like we listen and we don't judge, although it is just a silly trend too. At the end of the day, like, it has a powerful fucking meaning because, like, I've even, like, texted some, like say, like, don't judge me before I say this or something. Like, I'm someone that, like,
you say that all the time. Before you tell me shit, you'll be like, okay, like, don't judge me. Like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you.
Right, like, I have, like, a fear of that, I guess.
Yeah, and we all do. Like, I feel like I do that all the time. Like, I always post close friend stories and then delete them because I'm like, oh my God, like, I forgot this person was in my close friends. Or, like, like, we're all constantly afraid of, like, being judged. But it's, like, to create that safe space and, like, be able to say something, it's, like, nice.
Yeah, and it's like, I just think overall we need more of that, like, in our relationships.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've also talked about, I'm like, a lot of me does look at relationships and, like, flirting as, like, somewhat of a game that, like, has an end goal of, like, being, like, the one or something. But, like, not even in a romantic way. It's like, I just, like, want someone, like, in a, like, weird, like, not capitalistic, but, like, I don't know.
One of mine is kind of about that, like, flirting.
Okay, so we'll get into it a little bit more. But yeah, I just feel like us, like, even, like, going off of, again, like, we are so disconnected as a society. It's like, that's an attempt to try to be real.
Yes.
Like, we listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
And sometimes it's, like, funny. It's like, honestly, I think you look so ugly when you get out the shower. Whatever. Yeah. But sometimes, like, people are actually confessing shit. And, like, maybe they're just doing it to be funny, like, probably. But it's, like,
it's
real.
Truth
like,
that needs to be told in the relationship.
Yeah, and even with your friends, like, doing shit like that. Like, it's, like, it's not, because I feel like I always critique, like, these TikTok trends are so stupid. They're harmful. But it's, like, it's okay for them to be silly. But, like, I just think we listen, we don't judge has an underlying, like, meaningful thing.
Yes.
And I think we just need more of that in our relationships and what we're consuming of relationships online.
Yes. We don't just need to play the game to post on TikTok. You can, like, use that as a tool when you're having a serious conversation with your partner.
Like, literally.
Like, okay, like, we're going to listen and not judge and have, like, a real conversation about this.
That's a great exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And real quick, if you guys like what we're saying, feel free to rate us on Spotify or Apple or Amazon. We are at So Wet, So Dry. The O's are zeros on all podcast platforms. If you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, comment below some of your ins and outs for 2025. We obviously could have done way more for this episode, but we're trying to keep it short. So please contribute, comment below, and make sure you're also following us on Instagram because we do post polls weekly for upcoming episodes. And also, we would love for you guys to submit stories that we can talk about in the episode. So make sure you're following us there too.
So in for 2025 is perverts and taboo kinks, and out is shame and hating on like romance genres, CNC kinks, like all of that shit.
Yes.
Right. So we talked about this in our dark romance episode a lot. CNC continued to be a popular episode for us throughout this year. And honestly, when I first heard about the whole perverts thing, girl perverts trending, I was very against it. Like, I wanted to do an episode about, like, this is fucked up, this is, like, whatever. Until Ethel Cain just released her most recent. I'm, like, so on an Ethel Cain kick right now, guys.
Oh, yeah, and I was going to say kind of, like, I'm definitely going to check her out. But the way that you're describing her, like, she's an artist, it does remind me of, like, Tierra Whack.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
How, like, she had, like, oh my God.
She
like,
did
still
that whole,
in college, when we watched that together, I was like,
no,
I had, like never seen that type of music video, like, art before. Yeah. But that is what it's all reminding me.
Yeah. That's Ethel Cain. Like, she was raised in, like, a Southern Baptist church. So she has, like, a very, like, traditional, like, piano singing, like, background and all of that stuff. But she takes, like, Southern Gothic themes. It's so iconic. I'm obsessed with her.
I'll check it out.
But you won't like her. I know for a fact you won't like her most recent album because I don't really even know if I like it. But the most recent album is called Pervert. And it was like, there was a big, everyone's been anticipating it because Preacher's Daughter did so well. People love Ethel Cain, like all this stuff. And this is like coming after her Tumblr post about the irony thing. And so she like wants people to take this album seriously, whatever. And the whole album is very intense noises and like almost like prayers. Like it is music, I guess, but like a lot of people are describing it as like almost like a horror movie score. Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of an and I listened to the whole album yesterday, which like maybe is what sent me into like an emotional fucking spiral. But each song is like 8 to 12 minutes long. But like it has like this very like scratchy, droning, like vibrating sounds that sounds like, I don't know how to describe it other than like the static in your head that I feel like is the in-between between pleasure and like shame. And like the album is called Perverts. And like she said it's up to whatever you want it to mean. But I was listening to the song. I also masturbated. I had this crazy emotional experience. This is before I crashed out and went down a spiral like later with more emotions. But it just had me thinking like, so the word pervert itself is to alter something from its original course, meaning, or state to a distortion or corruption of what was first intended, or a person whose sexual behavior is regarded as abnormal and unacceptable. And so like Ethel Cain is obviously like a trans woman. She talks about a lot of like complex themes, but like just for us thinking about like CNC and like certain fantasies that we have that we don't always know like how we feel about, and like this dark romance genre, all this stuff, like it is perverse from the norm because we think of sex should just be like loving, like intimate, like I love you, and not like domination and like being held against your will and saying no, like that is like perverted. You know what I'm saying? But like I think for me at least, like it helps me, like some of the only times that I'm able to like unlock certain like trauma or like emotions and like maybe feel like a release from it is through those types of like sexual fantasies. And I'm sick of feeling like shame or weird about it. Like I think I can use it as a tool while still asking more questions. So I think it's like in 2025 with dark romance trending, body ripper romance novels trending, like Ethel Cain Perverts, even Baby Reindeer, like to a certain extent, like that also has to do with like Sincerity and like how he was attracted to trans women, then felt all this shame about it and like his sexual trauma. Like I think there's a lot more that we should be doing to question our kinks, question how our trauma plays into our sex life, explore it more, celebrate it, feel it out, etc.
Okay, well, first of all, can we just start really quickly with the horror score. So that album that I can definitely check out.
No.
You guys should, or maybe not.
If you've never listened to Ethel Cain, please don't start with that. Start with Preacher's Daughter. That album. There's songs on that album that you would probably like.
Right, but I'm still I'm not I do think that that's beautiful to an extent. Not all music and art is easy to watch or listen to, and I think that definitely deserves its moment. But yeah, I feel I've felt shame about my own kinks literally since I was 12 years old. I was always just a fucking freak.
Yeah.
And I still feel shame about it to this day. And I feel what you said about we can learn from these things actually, rather than just always put them down. And even with dark romance trends on TikToks, it's always oop, sorry, this actually is good. It's we're still kind of scared of fully fucking embracing that.
Yes.
And I feel us this year on this podcast and actually, even if it's just not even thinking about your own trauma with these kinks, but just learning
about
and,
them,
hearing from different communities, people that do CNC, people that are DOMs and BDSM, people who do Findom, learning those people's experiences. It's it can help you not make it feel so fucking heavy.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be heavy all the time. You don't need to be overthinking why you find this kink, whatever. But a lot of times when we break down these kinks, there is a psychological reason, or there is trauma and all of that. And I feel lately I've just been thinking a lot more of, and I know we have an episode kind of coming up about it soon, but a lot more about my sexuality and how it relates to my trauma and my spirituality and the deeper feelings of sex. And I feel some of the times that I feel the most spiritual is when I'm orgasming or masturbating or something like that. And it's I can see colors when I masturbate. I feel there's certain, when I was listening to the music, I felt there were chakras a lot. I felt I went a deeper level into my body that I'm not able to
just
access
walk one day in your spiritual ass body.
But and I think listening to someone like Ethel Cain makes me feel better, because I feel I'm not the only one, and I feel all of us have that capability. Because she was even talking about part of the inspiration for this album, she saw these warehouse dome things, and it was spooky, and she was drawn to it, and she thought about it when she masturbated, and it's that's such a weird concept, right? To think about this building. But I think I'm coming into more thinking about how sexuality and your inner workings are very much connected, and it can be dark and sick and twisted, but that could be a good thing too. We can't pretend everything's just happy-go-lucky all the time. It's not. Pleasure and pain are so interlocked.
Right.
I don't know.
And it's also on what you're saying, sincerity culture. It's not that serious. Not you don't need to kill yourself over it, but it definitely is worth investigating. If you only can get off to CNC, fucking assault role play.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? And yeah, I feel I'm spiraling big time. Not even just the sex worker shit. If you guys don't know, Fiji and I have been sex workers in the past.
Yeah.
But even just we've talked about, this is how we bonded a lot, is that we've always just felt very comfortable in our sexuality, felt empowered by it. And I feel I've been blinded, and I've spent so many years just being this is beautiful, this is special about me, I'm so sexual, I don't care, whatever. People used to tell me, in high school, they would be you have a sex robot type voice that is so sensual, and but it's yes, that's all good and fine, but I feel if I had taken the time to learn about my sexuality more, rather than just oh, it's up, we're not gonna feel shame, we're empowered, maybe I'd be in a better place, because I'm spiraling over the idea of sex right now.
And because I'm also realizing, I think I'm looking a lot at my life in terms of coping mechanisms, cravings, and addictions, because I quit the cigarettes and alcohol. And so I'm thinking about sex and masturbating as well and all those things, but how so often I'm using it to fix an itching for something or an escape or like a coping mechanism.
Same.
But when I'm like in tune, like when I'm masturbating by myself or having sex with like a really good partner, it's like I feel like the closest to like a spiritual power, like myself, like knowing myself, like it is amazing what your body can do. And like, that's amazing, but the other stuff doesn't make me feel. So, like finding that balance. Yeah. And even if it is a kink that is like taboo or something like that, like as long as you know the reason for it and you keep like a healthy balance where you're not getting into like addiction, like coping mechanism, like territory, I think it's good.
Because sex is like magic for real.
Right.
Like, it's like you feel like out of control, but like in control at the same time. Like sex is just so psychological and like mental. And even our latest episode on Findom, it's like a lot of that sex work like is done psychologically and like messing with someone's like psyche at the end of the day. Like not as much like so physical, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like my next one honestly relates to that. Okay. And now I'm thinking I took it a little bit too far because like I just feel like, okay, so like all year, like for the past few years, like I've been like, sex is like not a big deal. Yeah. It's literally not. It can be considered work. You can do it casually. You can do it when you're in love. But like it doesn't matter. Like fuck anyone, fuck whoever. Yeah. It's not going to fuck you up. Like you'll be okay. Like nothing bad will happen because it's just sex. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And now I'm like complete opposite of that. Like I'm like meaningless sex is out. Yeah. And like healing tantric sex is
no,
in.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But no, because I think I'm taking it too far.
Okay, it doesn't have to be. But yeah, agreed. I do think like, meaningless sex. It depends on how you define meaningless, though, because it's like I could go out to a bar and have quote unquote meaningless sex with a one night stand that was like a great time. Like we stayed up until 2 a.m. talking and like we liked the same music and we had really good sex where he fulfilled my kink and like we never pursued the relationship, but like it was a good experience.
I know.
Like that.
I feel like I'm losing that. Yeah.
But it's valid because it's like, I feel you. Like I'm reconsidering that as well because I mean, like guys, like me and Autumn have had our fair share of like slut eras. Like I've fucked anything and everything when I was in the mood for it. And like, I don't feel shame about it. Like it is what the fuck it is during that time period. But like now in this moment doesn't feel great.
No,
but I also don't want to only have tantric sex. Like,
but exactly. But I'm like, it doesn't feel great, but like in a like fucked up addictive type way, it like still kind of does. Yeah. Like I like had like a messy like one night stand recently, and like I was like a wreck in the morning, and I was like, oh my god, like I feel like he like really penetrated me. Like I feel like his energy is like whatever. But now, like, looking back and, like, thinking about that experience, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it kind of, like, turns me on. Because, like, I was being such a slut. Yes. Like, I was doing the most, like, I'm like, damn, that was actually really hot. But, like, in the moment, like, I thought my life was over. Like, I just felt like,
well, I think it's different as a fantasy versus, like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just, like, but the fantasy aspect, I'm like, actually, like, that was, like, and even the fact that it hurt, I was like,
and it's about the person. Like, because I do think that's it, too. Because, like, when there were certain moments where I just wanted to get it out, like, I'm fucking the person that gets it that night. Like, I don't know who you are, but, like, you happen to be in the vicinity and, like, you looked good when I was drunk and, like, whatever. But, like, I do think I'm trying to be, like, more intentional about like the casual sex that I'm having and like and my next one is kind of related to casual sex, like a little bit too.
Yeah. But I feel like out for 2025 for me is like sex without intention.
Yes.
And in for 2025 is sex with intention. Because like we did an episode on tantric sex and like I was trying to like
you hated tantric sex back then. You were like, I would never do this. I feel like you would not get off.
Bro, I definitely like wouldn't like, but like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm like spiraling right now, like actively. Yeah. But like, so I'm changing it. Like it's sex with intention. And if the intention is to just like scratch an itch, if the intention is just to scratch an itch with like someone you think is like hot for a second, like that's
But do
fine.
you feel like you don't feel like CNC could be, do you feel like that's always bad?
No.
Okay.
Like,
yeah,
CNC,
so I'm like,
because if it's intentional sex
right.
with like someone I really like,
yes.
like I don't want to like it. And it's like the intention is either to have CNC with a stranger or have one
with someone you
I'm
trust.
into.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm cool with it. It's just like I would consider almost like what like we did New Year's Eve, like that didn't have an intention. There was no thought. There was no thought process behind it. I need like, to do that.
Yeah.
Like, what was my intention? Like, honestly, I was like sad about like the girl. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like am I just like am I, and what am I gonna feel like after? Like, if I have sex with this person,
I was not thinking about that.
Will I be okay the next morning? Will I feel good? Like, even if
I literally felt like I was penetrated by like devil. Like I was like, because guys, I've been celibate for like a year and a half.
It was a lot.
Again, like nothing's that serious. Like it's just sex. Like it's just like riding a bike again.
Yeah.
But it's like when you break your celibacy in like a weird way that you weren't thinking about it, like it's fine. Like it was consensual. Like again, I was orchestrating it. I went first. Like it's all me, but I wasn't thinking. So, yeah, like that is just like so out for me. Like I'm done. Like sex does matter.
And especially,
like,
I think it's extra too because you had been celibate and that was the way that you broke it too. So it's
right. And I wanted it to be like a woman.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that.
We should have gone to the lesbian bar,
I also just think I'm spiraling. I don't think it would have mattered. I think now I'm just
But I think it's important to take it seriously. All right. My last one, I feel like this goes with it, right? Because I know we've been talking about taking a lot of things more seriously, but this is something that I think we need to take less seriously. And I'm going to play this TikTok.
So, what's your take?
My take is that we need to flirt more for our mental health.
100% disagree.
Why would you disagree?
Bro, flirting is mentally unhealthy.
Flirting is so healthy. We have lost a sense of play. After 2020 did her big one, okay? We've been like looking for play with pickleball and trivia nights and freaking improv. And in reality, you could just leave your house and just have a nice, playful moment with somebody else, consensually.
It's scary. Flirting is scary. You get all stressed out. Your palms are sweating.
Your
Knees
palms
weak. Arms are heavy. There's vomit
and
sweater
mom
already.
spaghetti and all of that.
I'm like...
We live in a fear-based culture. We can't be running in fear. This is a call to action. I want you to go to your local cafe, your local bar, your local dentist office.
Spit it.
And then meet somebody
Cook.
with a good vibe and have a little...
Let her cook.
Have a little fun with it. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey, okay? It doesn't have to be to find somebody else like a partner. It's just to find a little amusement, you know what I mean? A little fun, just kind of...
Little harmless flirting never hurt nobody.
Harmless flirting. If I were a doctor, I would prescribe 30 minutes of walking a day, 15 minutes of meditation, and probably at least 10 minutes of flirting.
That sounds like a recipe for success.
So I like this take because I think flirting is in 2025, and like the one-upping each other, transactional relationships of any sort or being too cool is out. And so like this does not mean that you need to like flirt with everyone with the intention of like getting their number, going on a date, fucking them, like whatever. I don't even mean in the sense of like romantic or sexual. I just mean in the sense of like play, like what she's saying. Like I was thinking about this a lot, like when I'm working at the bar, right? Like I'm so flirty with like every customer. It's not because I want to fuck them or I find they're attractive or even necessarily because I want their tip. It's just because like I enjoy to be in a good mood and make them smile and like, you know what I'm saying? Like have that energy, and that's something that I think like you're really good at. And it's like not necessarily like needing the validation from someone else, like on some narcissism shit, because we talk about that all the time. Like, do we just need to see it in someone else's eyes? Because it's not just about that. I think it's also about making them feel good too. Like, and I feel like you did this even when we were in Boston. And you're buying your little fucking dress at Princess Polly, and you're just talking to the cashier. Like, you know, like you didn't think she was hot. You didn't whatever. You're just being friendly. Like you're being flirty. You're being playful because like that's what makes being human like more fun. You know, it's not so serious.
I literally was like, I probably shouldn't buy this.
Right. You were just
I'm not working right now.
She's like, okay. Like, you know, most people are kind of
like,
put
no,
off by it a little bit
Yeah.
at first because they're like, everyone is so robot don't connect with other people.
Right.
But like we should be like more.
I know, babe. I love this so much. And I really do feel like, I mean, not gonna lie, like that TikTok, like the girl was like a little bit annoying.
I liked her.
I know. But I seriously, this is me like spiraling over sex and like I'm not going to like the Christian pipeline, but I'm just like, okay. But yes, I feel like honestly, like flirting with people like truly is an art form. And like I'm talking about like in person, like real connection and just like little moments like with humans and like complimenting each other and just like seeing each other is so real. And like what we're talking about with like the lack of sincerity in culture, it's like that's why it feels so good too, because we don't do that anymore. And I do think one of the most fun parts of the strip club for both of us like was like that was like what you do. Like that was like the culture and like that's what we do anyways on a random Tuesday at the local bar. Right. And I like we would always remind ourselves like, wait, we're not like
well, I think that's part of what I'm thinking about with it too, because I feel like it's like, don't you feel like so often like people think that you're flirting with them, but you're not, you're just like being yourself and being like friendly.
Yeah.
And I think like that's a problem with our culture that like, and I'm saying like do this flirting thing a lot, but like not with the intention, or other people should not have an expectation from it. Because like, why do we act like when you're just being like, you're just being happy, you're being charismatic, you're having fun, you're being flirty. Someone is like, oh, they must like me. Oh, they must want to fuck with me. So like, we're afraid to be like that because we're afraid of what the other person is going to like think and take it as. But it's like, no, bitch, that's my personality. And like, why am I not? Yeah.
And then when someone does like take it as it is what it is and they want to like have play too and flirt, it's like so fucking hot.
Yes.
It does kind of make me think of like men where it's like you give them a little bit and then they think like they own you immediately and you're with them for the rest of the night. And it's like, no, like we'll be together for the rest of the night if I decide it's okay. And you too, like it's consensual, but like I'm not feeling it over here. So why are you pressuring me?
Yep.
And it's also like we can use flirting as a way to like get to know someone and like see if we're down.
Yes.
Like just because I initially flirt with you, it's like, yes, I'm trying it out. Like, but it doesn't mean anything. And it's like, yeah. And I feel like it's a great distinction to make. Like, it's not just about like how it makes us feel. And like, yes, it is nice to like be like, oh, this person thinks I'm really cute, like that feels good, like they see the truth, like I am really cute, like whatever, like they're like, yes, they're validating how I already feel about myself. But also I do like making people feel good and like even seeing that look in their eye, like when you do flirt with them and they like get that like, oh, I think she's flirting.
Yeah.
And, like, you can see
or they're
that.
like smiling a little bit and trying not to, like, you know, that just
it's like that's so much fun. And like it's not always like a game either. Like sometimes it really is like just genuine, or also like you just like want to be nice and like warm to people. So I think that's great. And also people like demonize women. Like if we flirt too much, it's like, oh, she's being a pick me or whatever.
Or a
so like I feel like I agree. Like in for 2025 is like playful flirting, artistic flirting, like just feeling good flirting. Like I fucking love that. And like we need to stop shaming people, because even I feel like if you're out at a bar and you see this girl, like it's like you can tell that she's flirting or she's being like a little extra, like doing too much, and people are just like, okay. But it's like that is like a beautiful fucking thing, and like she's rare because y'all bitches are so scared,
right? Like she's
of being
confident,
real.
She's making connections, like she's being herself, she's having fun, and like I think it's like the outside of things is like these, again, we talked about it in 2023 too, but like transactional relationships, like the idea that like I cannot connect with you until I see what you're bringing to the table or what you have to offer, or what you give me something first. Like, can we all just lighten the fuck up a little bit, be more sincere, be more like flirty, and just like meet people with an open mind? And it's like, okay, yeah, like if you're flirting with them, if you're talking to them, they say something weird as like a friend, as the partner, as a whatever, you can leave the conversation. And also you don't always have to flirt with them to fuck them that night. Like, you know, like it can just be like basic social interaction. I don't know. I feel like we lost that.
And it reminds me, because I've been rewatching Insecure, And like, if you guys have like seen that show or whatever, and like Molly's journey on realizing she was like doing too much with dating and like taking it all too seriously.
Yeah.
And like in season 5, she has this flashback moment of like her past self. And she was like literally just like finding things wrong with everyone, being like so excited about this one thing, then immediately no, just like the little things. And it's like, fuck. Like the way we look at dating, and it's like, honestly, I do think, like, I really don't look at it like that. Like, I am like a hopeless romantic at the end of the day. Like, I don't give a fuck how much money you have. I literally don't care. Like, I'm just like, I just like want love. Yeah. And like, I feel like I've even tried to like present versions of myself that like maybe were different than that. And like, I did care. And then like being a stripper and like being like getting money, like I was like, oh. And then like I dated someone that like had money, and I was like, oh, well, that is nice actually. Like maybe I do. But it's like, no, I don't. And I feel like we're all losing that like pure romantic connection because the more I think about it, like it really is all capitalism.
Yes.
Like, we're disconnected as a society, but it's like, what can you do for me? It's like, aren't we supposed to like do things for each, like in a loving way?
And we talked about that in our like the gender wars episode. Like we lost that sense of like community, like, oh, doing things for each other just cause. And it's like, when I think about like how I want to meet the love of my life or whatever, it's not like me being like snobby, hard to get, like him, like putting him at an arm's length to buy me a drink at the bar. Like I want to be myself, and myself is like a fun person out with my friends, like being free. Like I don't want to have to feel like stuffy and stiff and like I need to like make him reach these certain things before he gets to this, like, you know,
and like not hide anything, just like be my true self, because like if they don't accept that, then like that's like perfect. Like that's all I need to know, because it's like, we want people that will accept like our like flirty, playful self and just see it as like, that's my girl, not like, oh my God, she's doing too much. Like the doing too much, I'm like, oh my God, like it's literally so misogynistic. It's fucking crazy. And like, I'm definitely guilty of it. Like I've seen girls and I've been like, that's kind of tragic. Like you're doing a lot. That's cringe. And like, I like, that's very bad. Like, I don't want to have those thoughts. So I think we need to actively work a lot harder to just like, and it almost sounds like a hippie, like we need to have open minds, like
but
in this culture, but it's so true, and it shouldn't be that way. But we've like gone so far down the wrong path that it's like, if you say like, I don't really care about that, like I just want to like get to know someone, like have an open mind, people are like, what the
like
fuck?
What? And it's like, it's also on the other side too, because it's like, I've noticed, I feel like with situationships and like people getting into like thinking something means more than it is. Like I feel like a lot of people do that all the time. Like we're like, oh, like they looked at my story, they must like me. Oh, they like posted this. It's because we're not having like genuine conversations and like being playful. And part of me thinks that like, oh, if more people are just like flirty and playful or whatever, we'll get beyond that, because like we'll be normal, and then like we can naturally move into a place of being like, oh, I like you. Oh, I don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Versus like being so like unreadable that like the littlest thing is something. But I also don't want it to be like, I feel like it's going to be a shift where it's going to be like, people are going to think like you're in love with them because you're being like flirty, but it's like, you can't manage their expectations. I feel like you should just be yourself.
And I think
be honest.
Like as you said, like honestly, like flirt as like play. Like I love that. Like you're dancing around each other's sentences. Like and it's like really.
And I like, love like when I smoke cigarettes. One of my favorite things, my favorite part of the day. But is to go when I would go to my gas station. The guys that work there, not the guys outside the gas station, right? Like I'm not flirting with the cat callers. But the guys that work behind the counter, I would always flirt with them. They're my hype men. Like, they hype me up, like, whatever. Like, I make them smile. They make me smile. They tell me I look good even when I look fucking crazy. And I go about my day. Like, you know, sometimes, I'm not saying, again, like, don't flirt with every fucking cat caller. Like, ew, goodbye. Like, it's annoying. But, like, you can, like, be a little extra friendly to the mailman. Like, I don't know. Like, just, like, walk around happier.
Like, it's so crazy. And at the end of the day, like, we are literally descendants from animals. Like,
we need to bark at each other, like, ruff, 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 ruff. Like,
yeah. But honestly, I'm just like, I love that so much. And I think that's honestly a great one to end on.
Yes.
Flirt as play as in for 2025. So that about does it for this episode, guys. And we did kind of talk about a lot in this episode, the whole idea about sex and like, should it be sacred and all of those things. So we do have an episode coming out about that very soon. So we're going to expand upon that. But let us know if you liked this sort of casual episode more so. And if you're excited for our new like cultural pieces that we're going to do the first week of every month moving forward. See if you guys like it, to kind of show our personality a little bit more, because it's gotten like a little bit
like a little too
and,
dry,
like dark.
Yeah.
Like even our gender wars series, like as impactful as it was, like we're both kind of just like, it's gloomy. Like,
yeah.
It's like daunting, and like we want to like have a little bit more fun on this podcast as well, and not always be in like doomsday, although it is so important. To learn and unlearn the things that we've talked about. But yeah, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're almost to 1,000.
Woo!
Follow us on Spotify. We've like doubled our Spotify followers in the last year. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to rate us and also follow us on Instagram to be a part of the polls, and let us know if you guys have any topic ideas, things that you want to see us do in 2025, but we have some good stuff coming for you guys.
Yes, and we also have listener support, 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 a month. It is in the bottom of the description of every single episode, no matter what platform you guys are listening on. And I made it through this whole episode without smoking a cigarette, so I'm really happy. But we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Daddy, it's me.
Oh, hi, Julia. How are you?
100,000? Like 100,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation